Welcome, crew. Got
Gonna get comfortable.
yeah. Are you comfy now?
I'm better now.
All right, cool.
Just mirroring you.
Just shut your legs. No one's got time for that. So thought we'd do something a little bit different today, guys. We're going to post this on my channel, Get Out and Adventuring, and we're going to post it also on Jared's channel. So you want to introduce yourself, mate?
So g'day, I'm Jared from JP Camping, Diving and Forward Driving. Nearly got my own name wrong then because it's so long.
Classic.
So we don't catch the fish, we watch the fish. I guess that's the differentiation between us.
And I don't catch the fish either. I just attend with a fishing rod.
It's not true, I heard a rumour that you caught more worms today than you have for the entirety of the rest of your life.
I did, and I didn't even end up with an itchy bum, so hey, it's all good. So we've been up here, we're on Gari, Fraser Island. We're not going to get caught up in politics. We're on the biggest sand island in the world, and we can just leave it at that.
Yep.
So we've been up here now for about a week. Been doing some exploring, and we thought this would be a good opportunity just to sit down and just have a bit of a chat about what's good. There is no what's not good.
There's no bad. There's what you could do better, and there's things that you can certainly tweak. I think that I've only been coming here for 5 years. You would have been coming a lot longer than me, but I think at that time we've done about 15 trips, and we've done everything from a small hard floor fold out camper to swags. Now we kind of smash around an 18-foot trail caravan. Every single one of those is awesome in its own right.
Yep.
So, and you kind of do, like with a swag camp, you do things a little bit differently. You rely on your car a little bit more, which we're both lucky now that we've got Y62s. So you got room for days. So a good 12-volt setup, an easy kitchen setup, and then realistically, enough food and water for a couple of days. It's about all you need.
It's just getting those few basics right. If you can get to sleep, you can keep your food cold, and the beers, that's really, you can cope with most things.
And keep your food secure. We had a few other groups here in the camp with us this week that have come and gone, and outside of the rain wreaking havoc on some gazebos, the next biggest thing was food loss through dingoes. So they're a wily little creature. They will get in and out of stuff. They'll pinch your food if you don't lock it down.
So yeah, a little bit about this week. We turned up Saturday gone, and it absolutely blew its guts out. We thought that was tough, and then it poured. So it rained for about 3 days.
Yep.
Something we've learnt, well, I've particularly learnt this trip, is this island does not give up her beauty really easily. We've had to work really, really hard this time to be able to go and enjoy it. But you know what, we stuck it out, and the last 2 days have just been probably some of the best that I reckon I've ever had here.
And I think off the back of that though, like, we prepare for these really well. So it's not like we don't just pack the car on Friday, turn up on Saturday. So for these bigger trips, we normally start about 4 months out, like in reality. So we pick the tides. So we pick our trips based on tides, so we can get here and get a good trip done. Normally we pick the weather really well, but the forecasting was just so off for this trip. Like the tides were impacted because we had big easterly winds blowing for those couple of days. So where we thought we'd get good travel time on beaches, we lost it because it was just, that wind was just pushing constantly for 3 days. But again, it's just different, isn't it? Yeah,
we stuck it out. You know, like you said, we prepare and we put a lot of thought into it. I'd say we prepare within about an inch of divorce.
Yeah.
We go nuts on it. And the thing is, for me, I like to be the guy that gets here and is prepared enough to be able to help everyone. I don't want to be getting helped. From time to time, you know, things go wrong.
Yeah.
But, you know, I want to be the guy that's prepared and like you know, and we come here and we prepare the hell out of it.
Yep.
And even in those really, really adverse days where you're kicking your feet and thinking you might just pull a pin, you know, we we were set up well enough that we could stick through it.
And even like with that, like we had, so it's like the small things. So we had a mate, his gas regulator died when we were cooking fish and chips on the beach. So we had a spare gas regulator ready to go. We had gas burners die, so we just share induction and 12 volt around the camp. So it's all those things where, in reality, when we started this group, we were kind of spread pretty wide. And then by the time we'd finished with wind, rain, damage, dingoes, I think that was about the worst of it, we pretty much ended up with a communal kitchen, a communal area through here where we were just kind of swapping and changing stuff. We had different fridges in different cars, and we had stuff plugged in everywhere. But and the beauty of doing this stuff with mates is that normally before you even think to ask, someone's already offered.
Yeah.
And it's in their hand, ready to give it to you. And I think that's where
nothing's too much trouble.
No, having a good camp crew is like, I just don't think you can put a price on it. It just, especially when you do it time and time again, and you know each other and you know who's doing what, who's got what, it really kind of gels, and kids kind of get looked after and play, and there's always someone looking after them, watching out for dingoes. There's always an activity that's planned. So I think persevere, find a good group I think that would be my number one thing before you even start camping with groups of people. Do it with good people.
You're right. You know, when we get here, we all come with our kids. You know, I've bought one of my boys this trip. You know, he's 15 now, and the reality is he takes an eye out for the younger ones. You know, everyone just becomes everyone's friend and everyone's carer.
Yep.
It doesn't really matter how old you are. Everyone gets a shout out if you've got a dingo lurking around behind you. So
we've even got your dad here looking after us as children.
We're the biggest kids here. We need the most supervision. So like Jared said, you know, we've been here now for many trips, and we've got to experience a lot of things. The thing that strikes me is that even when you think this is probably going to be my last trip, I reckon we've just about wrapped up, there's just more and more to see. So what we thought we'd do today, guys, is it's a little bit different. You know, there's none of us just ripping around making fools of ourselves. We thought we'd sit down and
be sensible.
Make fools of ourselves sitting down. No, we jotted down a few thoughts. We thought we'd just have a bit of a talk through about, over all of our trips, what's worked well, I'm not going to say what hasn't worked well, because I don't think we've had a really bad experience.
No.
I think things could have worked a little bit better. And probably some of the things you can see, you know, we've been here now, well, I'll be putting in 9 days, you're putting in 8 days.
Yep.
So it's about what you can do on a long break. And if you were here for a compressed period of time, you know, some of our trips have only been as short as 4 days.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you actually do when you get here? Because there is so much to do and so much to see, it nearly gets overwhelming. You know, you could nearly just sort of get stuck at Mackenzie and Eli, and you would miss out on some really tremendous things, you know. And it doesn't take away from their beauty, but geez, there's a lot here that as soon as you get off this eastern beach, that if you don't have a little bit of a think about it, you could get wrong. Or not wrong, but miss out at least.
Miss out on stuff.
Yeah.
And if you head away from this eastern beach a little bit, you also get away from the droves of people. So Google's your friend, TripAdvisor, YouTube, all of those things. Have a look around, because Fraser is a big pie, and my recommendation is do it one bite at a time. We're lucky because we're locals, so we can kind of do that. But so certainly do your research, know what you want to do, and then run your trip around what it is you want to see and what the adventure is that you want to have.
You're right. You know, we're lucky. We're sunny coast locals, so we've got this on our doorstep, really. You know, but there's people that come from all over the world or travel, you know, all the way across Australia to get here. So this could be a once in a lifetime, you know, experience, because there's other things they want to do. So, you know, we are just so lucky that
we're
this is our backyard. So
let's smash our list, mate. What do we got?
Right, first one. Top 3 attractions. Not best 3. Top 3.
Look, for me, Sandy Cape is number 1 here.
Oh, that was mine.
Well, you asked me first.
Pick 3 more.
All right, so don't pick your 3.
No.
So Sandy Cape, it's a mission to get there, and once you're there, you're there. So tide comes in, you're stuck. So you've got to enjoy yourself. Do the lighthouse. The walk is horrible, but when you're at the top, it's worth the effort. So that's certainly number 1 for me. It's number 1 for you.
Mate, I reckon so I like camping as much as I like the sights. So at the moment, we're in camp zone number 4, which is between Happy Valley and Eli Creek. Mate, I think just the campsite here,
Yeah.
you know, it's private. We've got another crew that have just turned up that aren't part of us, but they're far enough away. You can see them, you can't hear them. But we have the ocean on our doorstep. We've got Happy Valley 2-3 minutes down the road.
Yep.
There's fuel, there's food, there's the pub, there's amenities. Eli Creek just up there.
Mahino, of a morning when that spray settles, you can see the Mahino from here. So you're within striking distance of the Mahino.
So, you know, like, I love Sandy Cape. Like I said, that was on my list. And once again, you know, the camping up there is spectacular, but there's only a handful of camps. So you get up there and the rest of the world gets locked out from the tide, that's you. And so I like fishing, don't catch a lot, but like to try. And so, you know, we've caught some tremendous whiting and flathead, and, you know, the fishing up there is amazing.
Good drone footage, like we've seen sharks, turtles.
Yeah.
You get blackfin, black marlin up there as well off the spit.
There's
point.
Oh, and the sand dunes.
Sand dune.
There's just so much up there. You don't get the solidarity that you get on Sandy Cape back in these lower campgrounds, but you know what? If we sort of look at it like what can you do in a quick achievable trip, short of some of that, you know, peacefulness that you don't get from so much traffic and stuff, I think this campground
This is a good
in
one,
this zone, it has a lot to offer.
Yeah, but I think again, like I said before, it comes back to what you want to get out of the camp. Like if you want to have like a boys trip where you're going to be fishing, you've got no interest in doing any of the other sights and sounds, do the Cape. That's awesome.
So I'm going to jump in with number 2 so that you don't steal it from me, and it's Watumba.
Oh, you son of a gun.
So I knew you'd say that. That's
Yeah.
why I'm there. So Watumba for me, we camped over there a couple of years ago. They say the west is best, and it's not too far wrong.
It's pretty good.
You get those beautiful sunsets back over the mainland. We camped there. There wasn't a lot of people there. You know, it's a bit of a trek to get there. You got to go all the way up to Orchid and then in. It's dingo fenced. There's toilets there. There's showers that have been disconnected, but you know, there's a toilet block there. But I found that to just be a really cool place.
Great spot. In the summer, sandflies and horseflies and march flies, but you kind of get them everywhere. The march flies are everywhere here, but that was my only, when we've been there when it was warmer, that was my only annoyance with that spot. But other than that, the sunsets were spot on.
Yep.
And the camping is brilliant.
Yep.
So number 2 for me was one that we found on this trip, and I'm going to say Lake Alum or Lake Alum. So we did one of the inland tracks, and I think we went about 8 k's in and found the lake. So we stopped at the Knife Edge Sandblow.
Yep.
Had a look at that. That was cool. And then we trekked on down and then just found this beautiful lake. Little walk. There was only one other family there. The water was just beautiful, and it's a big lake with stairs into it. Certainly not Lake Mackenzie, don't get me wrong, but less of a drive, beautiful lake. And it's got wildlife in it. There's turtles, fish, and it would just be, to get a stand-up paddleboard out in the middle of that lake, you'd almost feel like there'd been an apocalypse and there's nothing around you. You can get lost there easy.
I don't really have much more to add to that. That was a really good summary. My third attraction, I only experienced this for my first time here this time also, was a Maheno sunrise. I sat up there this morning with the drone. It was myself, J-Mac and IMAC, and we sat up there. We were the only people on that beach.
Yep.
Got up there about 6 o'clock and just sat there and watched the sun come up over the ocean and then over the top of the Maheno. It's sort of really hard to put it into words. It's kind of, it was just a little humbling, eh? Just to sit there and experience that, and you think about all that went into it and the wreck and what it was designed for.
It's one of those things you won't be able to do forever. That's the reality. Like over the last 5 years that I've been coming here, that wreck has changed significantly, and it's something we see when we dive wrecks all the time as well, is that when you're doing them, you've got to enjoy it on the day that you do it, because they change. Like it only takes a storm, like we just had Tropical Cyclone Alfred down the east coast here. One of those significant weather events can just obliterate something like that, and we come back the next time and it looks remarkably different. So,
and that's a good point. It was one of the things I had on here, like Alfred shut Nagala.
Yeah.
So you got South Nagala, which is infamous on YouTube, Facebook, just about everyone knows Nagala. But the North Nagala rocks actually washed out. So we had a chat with the ranger today. They don't even know when it's going to open again. They've lost a lot of sand up there.
Yeah. You'll see drone footage on both of our videos from this trip. We flew up and over it, and like you hear about things getting closed, and you think, oh yeah, you can see why they've closed it. The coffee rock on that North Ningala, it's really exposed, and it would be really easy to get stuck there on a tide. Like there was a lot of water around it, so there's a road closed sign. And luckily enough, we turned up there today, and someone had gone around it. He got himself really bogged and in a real spot, and we helped dig him out and get him unstuck. But first time on the island, went around the sign and got himself in a real mischief. And the reality of it is he could have gone days without seeing anyone, because they would have got to that sign. So just have a look at those local conditions and pay attention, because it might seem like an inconvenience and you're missing out. It could also save your life. You could also open it up sooner if you don't go around it and do silly things. So
yeah, well, they were lucky. There was two of them, and they were just digging out with their hands. The car was on like a 45-degree angle, and we only spotted them because we took the drones up to go and have a bit of a look.
Yep.
And we just caught the roof line of it in the drone. Otherwise, like who knows? Tide was coming in. They would have been there.
Well, by the time we got them out, we probably only had 10 minutes to get back past that pinch point anyway. So, and well, they could have done anything. The angle he was on, they could have rolled that thing back down that little inlet track.
Yeah.
And anyway, it could have been bad. So yeah, it's just about paying attention. They don't close things to annoy us. They close them for a reason.
So, minimum amount of days to come here. I got my number.
Look, I've done 2 nights here before, and you do feel a bit rushed. So I'm going to say 4 would be my minimum to have a good trip.
That's what I was thinking. 3 nights, 4 days.
Yes.
Is a bare minimum. 5 days, you're starting to get into a little sweet spot, because you lose a day, honestly, with tides, travelling each way.
Yeah.
You can try your best to smash your camp up, get here quick. The reality is you're going to cook a day either way. And 5 days just gives you 3 in the middle to actually wind down a little bit, relax, and actually enjoy it.
Yeah, you can group a couple of things. Like you can group Mackenzie and the Yurong Bakery. You can group those and some of those inland tracks. You make a good day of that. You can group Eli and Orchid Beach and Champagne Pools, but Champagne Pools is full of sand at the moment, which is a shame. Cyclic, it's going to empty out again, but yeah, you look at those little clusters that you can do, but I was going to say around about 8 days, you start thinking I could retire here and just pay my $8 a night.
Yeah, I'm really hitting the zone.
Yeah, there's water everywhere. I'll learn how to fish.
Yeah. If you're only here for one of those short trips, if you're not going to go all the way to the Cape and stay at the Cape, that's a big trip to do, only because you'll lose a whole day just doing Sandy Cape.
Yep.
So if you're planning on heading up there, I would do that on a 5-day trip.
Yep.
If I was only here for 4, I reckon I'd cut it short
I would too, yeah.
and do the Cape another time.
Yep.
Right. Best pub food.
Oh, it's Happy Valley. Happy Valley pub. I'm still going to call best hot chips are at Orchid Beach Tavern though.
Yep.
Because we always have hot chips and a tap beer where we can. Be mindful though, in the off season, which we're in now, they're not always open for hot food. But yeah, I'm going to say Happy Valley pub.
Yep. Best beer. I'll run this one and see what you think.
Yep.
Orchid Beach.
Oh.
To sit up on there behind the landing strip at the pub and look out over the ocean.
Yep. Hands down, that's the best. That's the best.
Yep. That could arguably be the best beer in Australia.
I'm going to say I've had beers all around the world. I haven't beat that one yet. So
if you're lucky enough to, the planes you get little seaplanes land up there, and it's pretty cool.
there is a fence on that airstrip now. I know a bloke that strolled out there one day when an airplane just landed, just started chatting to the pilot, so I think it's his fault there's a fence there now.
I've looked everywhere for that footage and I can't find it, because I want to chuck that in my other video for this trip, because it was cool. That pilot, he was a pretty cool dude.
Yeah,
like as he left, he come over and he buzzed the plane on me, and he was good. So
Safety first.
yeah, I'm gonna mix it up a little bit. The rigs. I've just upgraded in the last month and gone crazy at home. Really sent myself insane, my wife insane, my family insane, my father insane, trying to get it ready. But with the help of everybody, we got here. So I picked myself up a used but new to me Y62 Patrol, and the thing has been absolutely flawless this trip.
Yep, they're a weapon. Well, I'm the same. Previously had a 2014 BT50, loved it to death. It's done the majority of the trips over here for us, and loved camping out of the back of a ute. Like, it was really good. But did the same last year, bought a second-hand Y62 and haven't looked back. It's brilliant. Like, thought we might have missed just the way that it worked with the ute, but the way these wagons are set out, there's so much room. Still run 12 volt in it. Got a good fridge. Got a good cooking setup. Can't beat it.
So mine, like yours, standard suspension, standard wheels, bull bars, a winch if we get into mischief,
Yep.
and a UHF, and like I said, 12 volt.
That's
We've
it.
got lithium on board. You know what? Don't get caught in the hype of, you see all of the big jacked up 4-wheel drives and everybody on YouTube going 2-inch lift, 3-4-inch lift, big remote res shocks, all that kind of.
You don't need it.
Don't get caught in it. Before my Y62, I came up here and did many, many trips in a dirty old MN Triton ute.
Yep.
That had the suspension that it rolled out of the factory with, and it went everywhere that you watch. It did Nagala, it did Sandy Cape.
Yep.
It goes everywhere that you see all these big jacked up cars going. So
Yeah, and they do less damage too. Like stock cars, you see these things on 35s lifted. We watch them go through Nagala and go up the beach, and they tear it to bits. They got that wide track, big tyres, and they don't go slow when they go through it, and they just give it to it, and it just tears stuff up. So stock works, and you've got less chance of things going wrong with a stock vehicle.
don't be disheartened. The moral of that story is, don't be disheartened if you don't have a big jacked up
Yep,
Forby.
100%.
There are tracks here which are more difficult, but you can get around this place and have a fantastic trip without any big hard rock crawling.
Yep.
You just don't need it.
Well, we were doing mud holes yesterday up to our number plates in these things. Again, just stop. Don't need it. I agree.
Right. Everyone's second favourite topic, dingoes. Problem or not?
I am going to say not. And I've brought my kids over here. We've had them in camp, so we keep dingo sticks. We keep an eye on everyone. We keep our food locked up. We give them their space. I'm not a fisherman, but everyone that I camp with that does fish, they bury everything that's got to be buried, and they bury it deep. I'm going to say no. It's not the dingoes. It's the dimwits.
I agree. The only time that they're a problem is, in my experience, is when you're a problem.
Yep.
Eli Creek, the other day, dingo, sound asleep, mind its business, and I watched a bloke walk up and hit it on the back,
Yep.
just for a reaction. I'm going to say not,
Yep.
but it's only not because we put all this time and effort into the prep, making sure we got good strong boxes, making sure that we can put our stuff away, particularly when we just leave for the day trips, when it's easy to leave stuff. So yeah, I'm going to say not, but it takes work for them to be a not.
And don't get us wrong, we had friends here that did everything right the other day, and one of the dingoes got through the mesh on their tent, tunneled through, had a bit of fun on his bed, and left. But nonetheless, they'd still done everything right. They patched it up and they carried on with their trip. But these things happen. You're in the wild.
Yeah.
These things happen.
Yep. And that never happened while I was there either.
No, no, we were out.
They're very opportunistic, they saw that we weren't here and they took a shot.
Yep.
I've never had one scratch around at my tent or anything while I'm here.
No.
But no doubt they have a good sniff. So just be mindful, be alert, not alarmed, and no dramas.
Yep.
Right. What else have we got here?
Some of these are Sarah questions too.
Paper maps or digital tech?
Paper. I'm a paper map guy. I love them. I can hold it, can figure it out. It's a lost skill, so Raiden's been in the front passenger seat with me a bit on this trip, so I've been getting him to work the maps. You don't have good phone connectivity here either, so if you are relying on tech, you have to make sure it's updated before you get here. If you need to download offline maps, you've got to do all that before you get here. Or use a paper hammer map. And mine's done bucket loads of trips now. It's got lots of folds and creases in it for every zone that you want to do. We mark the tracks and we write notes on it, so it's just an easy reference point in the car we've got all the time.
I'm going digital, but a paper backup. So the thing I like about the digital, if you're on top of it, you can keep up with your updates as things change, but you're 100% correct. You get out here, phone reception, connectivity is really hit and miss. And even if you get enough to get a message out, connecting to, like Google or something like that to update an app is difficult. So a paper map on board just gives you a little bit of flexibility 100%. If your digital goes down.
Yep.
But whatever you choose, just make sure it's the most current that you can actually get.
Yep.
Because, we've even seen it here over a week. We're seeing Coffee Rock appear that didn't, and we're seeing Coffee Rock covered over with sand that had rock. Like it changes with every tide.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Showers, toilets, amenities.
There is. So my advice to everyone is always get the map when you get your barge permit in Rainbow Beach. There's the Shell. You can get your barge ticket and all that stuff sorted before you get here. They'll give you the map of the island, and on that it'll tell you All of these stops all down the coast where you can get water, fuel, food, where there's showers, all of that stuff. There's some really, really good ones. Most of them are still drop toilets, but I think the best toilet is at cathedrals. It's freshly painted. There's no graffiti like what there is down at Happy Valley, but that's a bit of a timestamp of visitors over the years. So my favourite toilet is cathedrals. The showers at Dundabra are coin operated. They're brilliant. So yep, they're my top two. Do the drive for them.
Yeah, no, I agree. I missed a turn into Dundabra, so I looked and smelt good for us to sit down and do this. I ended up having to shower my underpants at the back of Jared's caravan this afternoon because I was a little on the nose. So I'm going to say the best shower in the place is on the back of your caravan.
I think IMAC reckons the best one's in my caravan because it was the only one that we invited in there.
I would have took the underpants off, but I didn't want to scare the dingoes. So swimming.
All the lakes and the creeks and all the swimming holes are 23 degrees. That doesn't matter if it's summertime, wintertime, or if there's an ice age. They're 23 degrees. That's it. So they're beautiful every time.
I feel like there's a iceberg hidden in the middle of this island that feeds Eli Creek, because
it's cold.
It's bitterly cold. I'm a hot kind of guy. Bitterly cold, but you know what? It is absolutely refreshing. You know, like it's just you're freezing.
Yep. And at the end of the day,
you're good cold.
Yeah, it's great.
And it's not like coming out of the ocean.
Yeah.
Because you're not salty, you're fresh.
Even shivering St. George loves getting in the water holes. Eventually she gets in. When she's in, she loves it.
Yep.
So in the summertime, they're more refreshing than what they are. Like it's the end of May, so it is cooling down. Still beautiful, but they're 23 degrees every single time I've ever been in it. That's the temperature.
Yeah, and Mackenzie, I don't know if it's a mental thing. You know, we've been there when it's hot to walk across the sand and then it feels like it's freezing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you just expect it to be warm on those days and it feels freezing, but I don't feel like it was any colder at the moment than when I've been there, when you burn your feet getting in it.
Yeah, I think the reality is it's always beautiful. So just do it. Just get in, don't be shy, Chownie.
What else we got here? National Park. There is, I'm going to say this trip, I've seen more garbage on the island, and it's washed up rubbish. Not so much in the camps. The camps are still clean enough, but there is so much garbage on the end. You know, it's National Park, guys, and you know, if we don't keep looking after these places, we're going to lose them. You know, we 100%. See all these mainland tracks and locations, all getting shut down. So. Oh, we got J-Mac hooked. He's got a hook in his foot, Dad. You want to go and have a look at him?
So I think my advice there is, so we camp a lot. We've always got bags in the front of the van that firewood comes in when you camp everywhere. So we've filled 2 of those on this trip so far.
Yeah.
So take more rubbish than what you brought across.
You're right. There's a crew up here at the moment. I think it's something to do with the Queensland 4-Wheel Drive Club that are here just to do a clean-up. What it does highlight, though, is the trash that enters the water hundreds of kilometres away can still just wash up here, and it's that plastic garbage that just never degrades.
It doesn't go away. So we've picked up like chunks of plastic that are smooth on the edges now because it's just been out there for so long. So we've picked up everything from 20-litre chemical drums, all the way lids, like plastic lids off bottles.
Yes.
There's so many of them. So it's a national park, so do your bit if you're coming here. Leave it better than you found it.
Yep.
And then what I just want to chuck at you, because it's not something we've had to worry about before, is fuel. We've got two big thirsty girls with us now. I've topped up twice at $3.10 a litre.
Yeah, I've put a couple of splashes in. I'm just trying to nurse it till we get back to the mainland. But you're right, fuel.
So, fuel, it's a good one. So if you're driving a V8, I would recommend that you bring maybe 60 litres of fuel with you if you can. If you can't, just pay the $3.10 while you're here. But yeah, it can be confronting when you put in 50 litres and you've spent $150.
Yeah, you know, and there is no shortage of fuel here.
No.
There's plenty of it.
Yeah. Oh, there's bucket loads of fuel. And again, that's on your maps.
Yeah.
So you'll see everywhere you can get good fuel.
Old J-Mac here just got himself a nice whiting and thought he'd interrupt the whole world to show us just because he got a fish and a hook in his foot. It's all about him. Anyway, we'll keep rolling on. Yeah, the fuel, the fuel's been good quality too. Like I haven't had any problems with it. I don't know if it might be a bit scary to people to think, oh, you know, what kind of fuel will we get here? But I think the fuel that I've seen has been
and the amount they go through, like there's always a fuel truck coming across. Never had an issue when I was pumping diesel over here as well, but yeah, it's just one of those things to be mindful of, guys. If you haven't been across before, and if it is one of those things you want to do, it's not the mainland. So, and they're not open all day, so you need to really watch your fuel consumption. If you need fuel and you can, just get it.
Yeah.
Don't leave yourself short.
Yep, that's it. Food is another one, you know, like I overpack, can't help myself. It's one of my good, bad traits. But if you find yourself running short, Cathedral, we're up the shops here today.
Yeah.
They are very well stocked.
Yep.
There is just about everything you would need at the Cathedrals to get you through a trip.
Yeah, 100%.
And also you're wrong. You know, there's
a shop there.
And a little shop at Happy Valley. I'm going to say Cathedrals, I reckon, is probably the best shop.
Yeah, 100%. Like, they had a swag there today. Like, we joke all the way through, like, you'll pick something up and we always go, oh, what was the island tax on that? But up there today at Cathedral, so they had like 22 litre water jerrys for $40. And the thing I liked about the Cathedrals the most is that everything has a price on it.
Yep.
So, hate to name and shame, but Orchid Beach, best beer, worst shop. Nothing's got a price on it. And every time you go there, someone zaps something, they're like, ooh, that's expensive. So
yeah,
I think that they're my pick, and I always forget about them.
It was like $9 or $10 for a packet of lollies up there. So if you got a sweet tooth like us, stock up, guys, because that will send you broke.
Yeah, sugar is expensive here.
Yeah.
Almost as expensive as beer. I think a box of 30-pack Great Northerns, the worst beer on the planet, is about $120 on the island.
Well, Cathedral had a bottle of rum, Bundy rum up there, and it was $75 for a 700ml bottle. So I don't think that's that bad.
No, that's pretty good.
So I think it sort of brings us towards a bit of an end, guys. So really the whole purpose of this was to just say, don't get tangled up, you know, don't get overwhelmed with the thought of it. Just put a bit of planning in. You know, it's fun to plan. We set up a group chat and all talk about stuff, and you know, the planning is part of the fun.
Yeah.
The execution of it is more of the fun. But you know, we just thought we'd do something a little bit different, and not just show you all about the sites, but try and give you a little bit of info to help you get yourself prepared so that you can see the sites for yourself, because we love doing it, we love filming it, we love putting it together, but you know what, we'd love to see you up here and have a beer with you.
Yeah, just come and do it, and you'll tend to find that there's a lot of, you'll find a lot of branded cars up here, like we saw...
Explore Life are up here at the moment.
Yeah, Explore Life are up here. The Red Arc guys were at Eli Creek this afternoon.
Yeah, Roof Racks galore up here.
Yep, so you'll see a lot of those people that you probably watch on YouTube to get this kind of stuff. So just come and do it. Like, honestly, you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot to do it.
No.
Just do it.
Yeah.
My advice. So
That's about me, mate.
yeah, so I think we've got a 5 o'clock booking at the Happy Valley pub tonight, so I can feel a fisherman's basket coming on. It won't be as good as we had beer battered whiting that had been caught the day before here the other night.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was probably the best fish ever, and so shout out to our mate Halesy that does that for us. That is the best fish and chips I've ever had in my life.
Yep.
This might be a close second tonight.
Cool. So like always, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. So as we said at the start, get out and adventuring. JP camping, diving, four-wheel driving. We're going to whack this same episode up on both our channels.
Yep.
We've got heaps of other content there. So look, we really, really appreciate your support. Thanks for hanging in there. And yeah, guys, hopefully we'll see you around up on Gurry. When you see us, give us a shout and we'll have a beer together.
Bloody oath. Happy adventures, everyone.
See ya. #steady.